Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of What's Going On. I'm your host, Pastor Akin Bandele, right here in Houston, Texas. We welcome all of you tonight. Go ahead and gather in, let's talk. Man, something big is going on, so you need to come in. Go ahead and if you don't subscribe to our channel, go ahead and do that tonight. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified when we come live. And also, help us to share the video, like the video, invite your friends to join us in conversation tonight. I'm going to be talking tonight about the bank, just the bank problems that we are having in America right now. The bank collapse. So go ahead, and I have been talking about this for over 4 months now. I've been talking about it for over 4 months, what you need to do with your finances, where you need to put your funds, where you need to put your money, things you need to diversify in. But some of you all paid attention, but some of you all are not. But go ahead and just share the video. Let them join us tonight. We're going to be talking about this trend that's starting right now. And before I actually come to the United States of America, I'm going to go to Africa for a minute, because in West Africa, in Nigeria, they've had issues with banking now for the past 5 weeks, where people have been unable to get their naira out of the bank. You have people that were fighting at the banks, and now it's getting to a place in Nigeria where they have to spend naira to buy naira, which is kind of crazy. So let's say you want to get 5,000 naira from the bank or from traders, you got to pay some of that money. Some people say up to 1,000 naira just to get 5,000 naira. So your 5,000 naira turns to be 4,000 naira. And it's all before the election, before the presidential election in Nigeria. But even after the election, now they still having problems getting their money from the bank. People are literally getting to the bank at 5 o'clock in the morning for a bank that opens at 8 or 9. And people that got there at 5 o'clock in the morning told me they were number 70 or number 90, which means you have so many people that have already gotten there and picked a number to be seen, and they're letting people in one at a time, and they have a limit on how much you can withdraw. And that's been going on now for almost 5 to 6 weeks in Nigeria. And it's still going on. And, for a while there, you would think, well, that's Africa. That's only, that's only happening in Africa. But now, to hear, worse going on right now in the United States is actually just crazy. So we're going to talk about that tonight. And we'll talk about what you can do, what you need to do, what you should be doing. So we're going to wait on some of our viewers to join us tonight. If you're joining us for the first time, go ahead, or maybe you've been one of our favorite people that view us every Thursday. Go ahead and come in. Let me hear you. Let me know that you are there on tonight. Amen. I see Sister Yolanda. God bless you, Sister Yolanda. God bless you, Sister Genevieve Jacko. God bless you. God bless all of you that are joining us. Let's talk about this, because Yeah, it's been happening in Africa, and it was because they changed their naira and they stopped taking the old bills, but the new bills were not available at the banks. The banks had them, but because of corruption, they were probably selling them to politicians, to where an average person could not get their money out of the banks. I've seen videos where people were just fighting and burning bank buildings, literally burning bank buildings and breaking glass. And I even saw a video where there was a military brought into a street where there are two banks, and a guy was killed on the street because these people want their money. They trusted the bank, put the money in the bank, and now they couldn't get it out. So that has been a problem in Nigeria, and it's still going on. I talked to Nigeria today. They said the problem is still there. It's still hard to get your money out of the bank. But they said that the Supreme Court in Nigeria has ruled that the merchants can continue to take the old Naira bills now. So hopefully that will alleviate some of the problems. But there's still a problem there. But let's come to America. The good old America, which I would have never expected this to happen. As you all undoubtedly know, the past few days has actually have been a very, very trying days for some people. The past few days have been very stressful and has been very highly eventful in the banking world. You may ask me why, if you haven't heard the news. I don't know where you have buried your head, but this has to do with the failure of two large banks. And the failure of these two large banks has actually rattled the markets as well as many people's nerves. I mean, people were just going crazy about their funds. Well, the two banks, the SVB, Silicon Valley Bank out of Santa Clara, California, and also Signature Bank in New York, Signature Bank in New York. These were two major banks that literally failed. People lined up at the bank to pull out their money out of the bank just to meet payroll. The small businesses that have to meet payroll, that have to meet certain bills, queued at the bank to pull money out of the bank. Several millions of dollars were pulled out within 2 days. And something has to be done. Now, the issue is this the beginning of the end? And I've been telling some of you all, hey, some things you need to do when it comes to money. But anyway, yesterday afternoon, the Department of the Treasury in the U.S., together with the federal banking regulators, they announced steps that they have taken to protect the depositors in these institutions. People that have their money in these two banks, the federal government, the Department of Treasury, and the federal banking regulators, they've announced ways to protect everyone that has their money in these banks. And also, they're saying that you will not lose your money and that this will not spread to the wider banking program. If you look at these banks, you may say, well, maybe those are small banks. No, they were not. They were big banks. And my problem is these fat cats, these bank presidents. You're going to tell me that they didn't see this coming? I don't believe it. I think they know. I believe they know. And I believe, I was hearing the news where some of them even, they had bonuses. They took bonuses 2-3 weeks ago before the bank failed. How does the bank run out of funds and collapsing and the executives are taking bonuses out of the bank. That is crazy. So let's talk about that. If you have any comments or any questions, feel free to comment. I already, somebody, I saw a comment here. DJ Hopes, welcome to our program tonight. Somebody comment, does it mean we have to put our funds under the mattress? Woo-wee! Yolanda, the failure of two large banks, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, caused a crisis in the banking industry. But Yolanda, really, immediately when I heard the news, the first thing I went and checked was my investments to see if I need to liquidate some stuff. But I watched it for a couple of days, and actually I gained over $4,000 in 2 days. So I didn't feel the urge to liquidate some of my stocks and bonds. But it's very, very concerning, though. And I've been teaching about this for several months now, that everybody should have some kind of emergency funds that you withdraw from the bank and keep, just in case it happens to your bank, that you cannot get there to even withdraw $100. Okay? I mean, it's crazy. And I've taught on this program, on this same channel, several months ago, for people to have a certain amount of emergency funds that you can access readily. So the question is this the beginning of the end? The question is there going to be a domino effect of this thing? The question is, what might happen to the interest rates? What about people in a panic rushing to the bank to withdraw large amounts of money? What is going to happen? What is going on? If anybody is out there that want to chip in and comment, feel free to do that. But let's talk about banking as a whole, the way I do banking, which I've taught on this program several times. You must be careful the way you title your accounts, the way you title your account. Every account title that you have in banks that are FDIC insured, okay? And that is a key. You want to make sure the banks that you are banking with, that they are FDIC insured, which is a federal insurance, that if the bank closes down, the federal government, that insurance guarantees that you won't lose your money, but there's a limit. The limit is $250,000. So, for majority of Americans, maybe okay. If your bank is FDIC insured, we'll be okay. Because a large percentage of Americans don't have that amount of money in a checking account. I don't know what the percentage is, but a very large percentage, probably over 70% of the people don't have that kind of money in the bank account. But what about people that have $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, $20 million, $100 million in the bank? See, this is why when you may say, well, that's wealthy people's problem, but not really. Because when the banks begin to fail and collapse, it will affect everything. It will affect everybody. Whether you are broke as a church rat or you are wealthy as you know what. Okay? So it's going to affect everybody. It's going to affect interest rate. It's going to affect people's buying power. It's going to affect the way people start spending. It's going to affect a lot of stuff. So let me say this on the outset. you need to talk to your accountant. But let me tell you what I've taught and what I've done. This is me. You do whatever is good for you. What I've done is I have several account titles. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. The FDIC insurance is not per person, is per account title. So if I have $250,000 at Bank ABC in a checking account, FDIC will cover it if the bank shuts down. If the same person have another $250,000 at XYZ bank, that account is also going to be covered by $250,000. So it's every account at different banks. So what does that mean? Spread your money to several banks. Another thing I have done is I learned, and I've taught about this on my program, that you can actually title your accounts separately. So every account is federally insured to up to $250,000. So if I have an account in Akin Bandele, it's an account number. That account is insured up to $250,000. If I have an account in Akin or Betty Bandele, that's also has a $250,000 FDIC insurance. If I have an account with Akin and Joshua Bandele, that's another title. Akin and Raymond, that's another title. So several titles in one bank, and several banks can actually protect a lot of your money if you have several millions in the bank. And somebody was asking, what do millionaires do? Most of them, they actually diversify their money in certificate of deposits. Some of them put it in Swiss accounts, which is a foreign account. Some of them invested in real estate, where their money is tied up in a real estate, not fiat money, not paper money. Real estate, buildings and equipments, high-rise buildings, apartment complexes, single-family homes. So if my money is tied up in those homes are mine, regardless of what's going on with the banking system. Okay? So there are several ways that people that have money have diversified their funds to avoid this kind of collapse that we have seen with these two large banks. Another thing that I did not know that you could do, I just found that out today. You can actually have security deposit boxes at banks. And you can keep valuables in those security deposit boxes. And those valuables can be diamonds, gold, and cash. Okay? So there are millionaires that probably stored, $1 million, $2, $3 million in different security deposit boxes. They are literally fiat money in those boxes. Okay, so it's not in the vault of the bank. So it's almost like you have your own private vault in different banks. So there are several ways if you have that problem. I know many of you laughing at me right now and say, I ain't got that problem. Well, let me go to my device to see if there's any comments. If you have any comments or any questions, you can go ahead and ask. But what I will advise you is don't panic. Do what we have always taught you to do. Learn to keep enough cash in a safe place, whether in a safe deposit box or a safe place. Not under your mattress, though. Like Grandma and Papa used to do. But, find a way to keep certain amount of money to where you can buy gas, you can buy food, you can pay for certain things if the banks if your bank is having issues or having problems and they are shut down for days or for weeks, or where the lines are so long that you can't even get access to your cash. So, I mean, I've taught this for months and for years. You need to keep emergency funds to be able to pay for necessities. If you need to go to CVS to get your medication, and debit cards and credit cards are shut down where they don't work, do you have enough cash to get a life-saving medication that you need? I mean, I was talking to somebody that told me they paid over $400 for insulin, which is a life-saving medication for people that are diabetic. If you don't have that cash and you could not get it from the bank, and they're not taking credit cards, how are you going to get it? I mean, that may be really, really bad for you. So learn to be wise. Learn to be wise. This is a season that you need to watch and pray. You know, you can't close both eyes. You got to keep your eyes open and watch and pay attention to what is going on. Amen. If anybody has any comments or questions, go ahead and ask, and I will be glad to answer those questions. There are other ways that, you know, I've learned to diversify. For instance, let's say all the banks are shut down. All the banks. For a week, or for 2 weeks, or for a month, that you cannot have access to your bank account. Do you have access to a safe deposit box where you have kept some cash for emergencies? Think about that. Do you have access to some kind of safe somewhere where you have access to a few hundreds of dollars that you can spend to buy food, you know, buy groceries and water and life-saving medications? Do you have valuables that you can trade for cash? You may ask me, what kind of valuables? Coins, gold coins. Do you have those valuables? Because, I mean, if the push comes to shove to where you need cash to buy life-saving medication, food, or gas to get out of Dodge if there is a disaster going on and you need money and the gas station is not taking credit card, do you have enough cash to fill up your tank to get out of town, get out of Dodge? These are sensible things that you need to prepare for. I mean, you need to make preparation. I know many of us, you know, I pray also, okay? I pray and I believe in praying. But your prayer, you know, you got to put action to your prayer. Your faith has to, you know, you have to put action to your faith. Genevieve said, yes, you sure have. I have it written down. Yeah, but Jacko, it's a good thing to write it down, but are you putting it to practice? Just like last night, I was teaching a Bible study, and I brought up a Bible study that I've taught, a lesson I've taught at least 10 times in the past 6 months. I've mentioned it over and over and over. And just to see if people learn, I know people wrote them down. Out of the congregation of several people that were at Bible study, I asked the question, who could tell me these systems? Only 2 people were able to tell me, were able to stand up and tell me. And I was impressed with the first person because they were able to tell me, they gave me the 3 answers, and I actually gave them $100 just for answering the question because it just bothered me that I've taught this several times and people wrote the notes down, but they didn't learn it. So, sister, you got to do more than writing your notes. You got to do it. You got to do it. DJ Hopes is asking a question. What is the minimum amount of emergency funds you recommend to have? That is a good question. Emergency funds for each person will be different. Okay? Let's just have a scenario for 1 week. 1 week. All banks are shut down for 1 week. all credit cards, debit cards could not be used for 1 week. What is your budget for that 1 week? Now you can go to the grocery store because they are open, but they're only taking cash. So you have to think, how much do you spend on groceries for that 1 week? Let's say $200. So for 1 week. What about gas for that 1 week? To fill up your tank, maybe let's say about $100. So now you're up to $300. Let's just say you use medication that costs between $200 to $300 a month. And it so happens that it ran out and the week you need to pick up for your month's supply. So let's just say $200. So now you're up to $500. What about if your phone bill is already past due? They're going to cut it off if you don't pay. Can you walk up to a grocery store where they can take payment with cash and pay for your phone? So you see what I'm saying? So the emergency money depends on the individual. For some people, $500 may be enough for that 1 week. For other people, it may be $2,000 for that 1 week. Now, we're talking about 1 week. What happens if the emergency is for 2 months? Like it is in Nigeria right now. If it's for 2 months. What happens if you are an employer, a small business that got 3 people working for you and you have to meet payroll? The banks are closed down. You can tell your employee you're not going to pay them. Well, the banks are closed down. Well, I work for you, sir. I need my money. Pay me cash. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's say you were one of those people that get paid every week or every 2 weeks, and your job is to clean a building, or maybe repair a toilet. And you got a building that have 4 toilets that's leaking and gushing out, and they say because the bank is closed, they're not going to pay you as a plumber. Will you do the work? The answer is no. The building next door, they are flashing cash. We got $3,000 right here. Come fix all of this problem for us. The plumber definitely will go to that next building to fix their plumbing problem because he's going to get paid, and now he's got cash to go buy some groceries and buy gas and buy a new tire for his car. So you understand what I'm saying? So it all depends on your financial need for that week or for that month or for 2 months or 3 months. I personally prepared for at least 6 months. That has been my preparation for the past 10 years. That for 6 months, and the preparation I'm talking about for 6 months is if I don't have any income, if there's no income, no paycheck, nothing, am I able to still eat for 6 months? Am I able to buy gas for 6 months? And if I'm renting and my landlord says, if you don't have cash to pay me for my apartment, you can get out, and the federal government doesn't step in to do something, the landlord has the right to put you out. Especially let's say I'm renting or I need to rent an apartment, and you are an apartment owner, you have a duplex or a 4-plex, and each 4-plex is $1,000, okay? And you need your money, but your tenants say, hey, we have no cash, I can't write you a check, the banks are closed. But if this landlord gets somebody to come and say, okay, man, this is $3,000, I'm going to pay for 3 months. What do you think the landlord's going to do? He's going to put you out and get money from the person that has money. Unless the government steps in and set up some rules and guidelines. But if that doesn't happen, you can always depend on the government to bail you out. Just like these banks. I believe the government should stop bailing these bastards out. They need to stop bailing them out. They need, some of those presidents of these banks, they need to go to prison. Some of these executives need to go to prison. Because, And if anything, I think the government, yeah, the FDIC insurance will pay $250,000. But what about people that have $2, $3, $4, $5, $10 million at the bank? So $250,000 is all the insurance is going to pay for, unless they are smart and have tallied the account the way I've told some of you to do it in several years. Yeah, now you have access to several 250,000s in different banks. So you need to just pay attention and do what is best for you. Wow, that's a good scenario. Thank you, Sister Yolanda. DJ hopes, and that's my thing. You have to make your own decision on how much emergency funds do you need. What are you comfortable with? I remember during the Y2K when they were saying there would be scarcity of food and tissue paper. Okay? My wife and I will prepare enough food to feed a family of 7 for 1 year. That's what we did. We had enough tissue paper to last for 2 to 3 years. And if the tissue paper runs out, guess what? We have water, okay, that you can wash your behind and take a sponge bath or whatever. See, you got to learn to prepare. We are so spoiled in America. Let me give you an example. If the greed goes down, since we're talking about preparation, if American greed goes down, electricity goes out, and let's say it's going to be out for 2 weeks, can you survive? Let's deal with that. Can you survive 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks of no electricity in your house? If the entire city has no electricity, can you survive? All your food in your freezer, you're going to have to pull them out and cook them. You're going to have to fry all them chicken and do whatever you can do, but will you survive? Do you have candles? Do you have battery lamps? Do you have oil lamps? Do you have things that you will need if there is no electricity? I know some people have generators, okay? But do you have gas to run your generator, even if it's just for 2 hours a day? Do you have battery backups to even be able to charge your phone? Because if you have, I have battery backups right now that can literally, if I turn it off, I can turn it on to charge my phone, and I can charge my phone for a whole month on that one battery charge. Do you have that kind of stuff? See, you got to learn to prepare. You got to learn to prepare. Don't wait until chaos happens. And are you able to protect yourself? And that's a different story in itself. Are you able to protect yourself? Because when these things happen, people are going to be looting and breaking into houses. And can you protect yourself? I'm not going to say too much on that. Because you're just, I believe in the Lord too, that the Lord is my protector. He will protect me. But do you have a plan to protect your family when these crazies come to your door? What about if your water is contaminated by radiation? The water system contaminated by radiation or by poison or whatever, water system. Could you survive for a month? Could you survive for a week? Could you survive? And this is the thing, you see, we have been so accustomed to think that, everything's going to keep going on the way it is, things going to be all right. We live in a modernized society, that only happens in the third world countries. Let me tell you, it can happen in any country. And especially with the sixth trumpet that I've been teaching about, that's about to sound. The sixth trumpet, which is going to usher in the Third World War. Let me tell you, some things are about to happen. When we move into 2023, you all remember New Year's Eve service, I gave a prophetic word for all over the world, really. I said before April 15, there's going to be some major disasters that's going to cause some people to really, really, really rethink what's going on in their lives. And people think, oh, that's them just talking. Well, it's starting. And I'm not going to say any more about that, but I can tell you by the Spirit of God that it is starting right now. Are you preparing for your family, or are you going to get caught with your pants down? You're going to get caught, unprepared. What kind of man will you be when your families are in the house, your babies are in the house, and they have no water to drink? They have no food to eat. They have no saving medication. You have a child that's on insulin. You can't get the insulin because you have no money to buy it, because you don't have any access to cash. Do you have enough of your prescription to where you can live for a month, 2 months, 3 months? Come on, talk to me up in here tonight. Well, a word is enough for a wise. Thank you, DJ. Yolanda, you say you need electricity. Okay, let's talk about that. For some of you that are just joining us, this is yours truly, Pastor Akin Bandele, on this week's edition of What's Going On. My time is almost out, but we are talking about the bank failures, the bank collapse. We talked about the SVB Bank, Silicon Valley Bank in Santa Clara, California, and also Signature Bank in New York. Is it a possibility that these other banks can actually start having issues? And you may say, oh, I have a big bank. Well, Silicon Valley Bank is a big bank. Signature Bank is a big bank. They are not mom and pop's bank. They are not small little bitty banks. I mean, people got millions in that bank, billions of dollars of assets in that bank. So don't think it cannot happen to your bank. I don't care what bank you bank with, it can happen. And you see what the bank's going to start doing. They're going to start charging fees for everything, which they're already doing anyway. They charge you $15, $20 for them to keep your money in the bank. They start charging you $5 to send you statements in the mail, which are talking about sending statements. I'm about to reach out to 2 banks that I noticed that they are charging me $3 every month to send me paper statement. I don't need it. Keep your paper. I'm checking my money myself online. See, they have found a way to continue to rob the taxpayers. Now, let me ask you, I don't know. I mean, they say, well, the taxpayers are not going to pay for this collapse. How would the taxpayer not pay for it if the government is bailing them out? We're going to pay for it one way or the other. Trust me. The taxpayers will have to foot this bill one way or the other, either through inflation, through fees at other banks, and interest rates, and all different ways to get this money back. Well, we just need to be wise. We need to be wise. We need to be wise and be prepared. If you're on medication, try to get enough prescription that will last you 30 to 90 days. If for electricity, you need to have deep freezers. I know some of you will keep everything in the refrigerator. You need to have deep freezers besides your refrigerator to keep food, and you need to continue to rotate the food out. I've been telling my wife that she keep stuff in the freezer for months and months, and then she goes out to buy the fresh one and cook the fresh one. No. You take the old ones out of the freezer to cook, and you freeze the new batch. The same thing with canned goods. You use your older canned goods and stack up on the new ones. All of them have expiration dates. So you need to use common sense. You know, I'm stacking up on some of my herbs. You know, the herbs to use for high blood pressure, for diabetes, for high cholesterol, for, you know, tea, and just, you know, I'm stacking up on some of them in pounds. Just in case I can't get them for 3 months, for 4 months, for 6 months, or for a year. I will have something that my body is used to staying healthy. Now, I'm not on any medication. Thank God, I'm not on any pills or anything like that. But I say I have vitamins that I take. I have herbs, you know, leaves and different fruits and things, dried fruits that I eat and take, you know, to give me all the vitamins that I need, vitamin D, vitamin K, C, and all of these vitamins. You know, I have to keep enough, you know, for myself and for my family, of course. So what are you doing? So if you're on pharmaceuticals, make sure you have enough and constantly go to the oldest to use them and keep your newer ones and continue to rotate them in and out like that. Canned goods is a great thing to do. You need to get to Sam's and Costco and buy stuff in bulk, buy them in cases, and put tags and labels on them, put dates on them so that you know when to roll them out and roll them back in. And like I said, for electricity, if everything goes dark, do you have emergency generators? Do you have an emergency generator? And they're not that expensive anymore. They even got some now, which I'm about to actually purchase a kit that would allow me to charge some of my stuff with solar, with sun, because I mean the sun will be out, so I might as well get some of that solar. I even purchased some emergency light bulbs to where if electricity goes off for 3, 4, 5 days, I have enough charge in those bulbs to last me for a week. And I got several of those bulbs all over the house. You see, you got to prepare. You may never use it, but worry about when you need it. That's what is so important. So just be prepared. Let me go back to my device. DJ, I agree Bank of America is charging me $12 for a monthly service fee. What are they servicing? They are servicing nothing. They are keeping your money, loaning your money out, charging big interest rate, but using your money. Never, never, never pay monthly bank fees. Find a bank that can let you have a checking account and savings account linked together to avoid paying service fee. What are you servicing? I'm putting my money in your bank, and then you're charging me fees every month to keep my money in your bank. No. I don't pay fees on any of my checking accounts. I don't pay fees on any of my savings account. I don't believe in paying bank fees. I don't pay overdraft either. I don't overdraft anyway. Okay, I don't pay for overdrafts. I don't even pay banks to order checks. I've been known to close bank accounts when they want to charge me $20, $23 to order checks. I said, you crazy? I'm not going to pay for checks. And my banks, you know, the banks I use now, they charge and then they reverse the charge. Because this pastor is crazy. I'm crazy. I don't like being cheated. I don't mind paying for service. I don't mind paying for food. I don't mind paying for water, but I don't want to be cheated. I don't want to be robbed. Okay? It takes work to prepare, and most people refuse to invest in the energy needed to be ready. Woman of God, you hitting the nail on the head every time you comment. It takes a lot of time to prepare. And people don't have time to prepare. But do you really not have time? See, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. You can start preparing slowly. I remember when I was preparing to have emergency cash, it took me a whole year to get to what I wanted. Okay, it took me about a whole year. And now I've been looking at, some certificate of deposits, and I'm actually looking at some security safe deposit boxes now, either in buildings, in banks, or whatever. Okay, because even if there's no money to get out of the bank, if the banks don't have no money, if they open their door, I can get in the bank, go to where the vault is, safe deposit box, and with my key and the combinations and all that stuff, you could get in there and get some of your valuables out of that, which may even be some fiat cash, fiat currency. Okay? I know, my wife, she's been doing really good with water. But I need to stop people coming to my home to just take all our water, because my wife and I will prepare enough drinking water for us to last us at least minimum 3 to 4 months if we don't get a single bottle from outside. But the issue, though, is I need her to continue to replenish the supply. Because many times she wasted, the supply is almost out, because we got a lot of people that always coming to take our water sometimes. So I'm probably going to have to set some guidelines that once you get to so X amount of cases, you need to go get some more. So I've got enough storage to store them. So, and I remember when we lost during the freeze, when there was no water for 3 days. I didn't miss a beat. I used 50 gallons of water for that week. I was able to take a bath. I was able to brush my teeth. I was able to flush the toilet. And I only used about 50 gallons of water that I have, in one of my water storages. Okay, and I'm talking about, I've had water storages now since 1999. Since 1999. And all I do is open the storages and put aerobic oxygen. I just drop 10 drops of aerobic oxygen in it, and that aerobic oxygen will make the oxygen move in the water to keep the water fresh for 24 to 36 months, for up to 3 years. After 3 years, you drop another 10 drops in it, and it will keep for another 3 years. So, I mean, there's so many things. Like I said, like Yolanda said, it takes time to prepare. It takes time and it takes work. But we all of us need to work on it. Well, what's going on with the banks? I don't know, but I know you better be prepared to not be able to access your money. Even though the FDIC insurance say you're not going to lose your money. We're not talking about you losing your money. We're talking about you having access to the funds when you need it. What good is it for the insurance to say we guarantee your money, but you die before you could get to the bank because you are not able to buy a life-sustaining medication that you need? That insurance will mean nothing to you. Even though you didn't lose the money, somebody else will enjoy the money while you're gone. You need to prepare. The word is enough for the wise. Be wise, get wise, and start preparing. Again, like I know people that are planting their food. They have a garden where they plant food. I actually have seeds that are purchased that I've not used. I'm not very good with gardening, so I have the land to do it, but I'm not very good at it. So what I'm good at is getting dried food. So I'm good at that. But as far as growing tomatoes and growing onions and all that, I'm not really very good at it. Yeah. So I store, my wife buys some canned food like that to store. I don't know how to can, so don't. I mean, and I know people that are learning how to can and how to store their food to last longer. You know, you just need to learn. Uh, I know somebody was asking me, I forgot what it was. They said if you cannot get to the grocery store to get milk, but you got cereal at home, how are you going to do it? I said, I got powdered milk. I got powdered milk. So all I have to do is and have water and powdered milk and pour my cereal in it. Again, you need to just find out what your family will need, especially if you have small children, especially if you have elderly people or people that are sick that need medication to stay alive. Worry about if somebody is on a machine that needs electricity to run the machine and the electricity goes off for 3 days. You need to invest in a small generator. You may never need it, but when you need it, you'll have it. You know what I've been doing also for preparation? I learned about, and I'm almost through. I learned a few years ago. We lost electricity because of the storm, and we actually lost electricity for about 3 days or 4 days. And my generator would not start. I was so mad at myself. What good is it for you to have a generator that won't start? I was so mad at myself. I slept that night in the dark, mad at myself. That morning at 8 o'clock, I got in my car, drove out, went to AutoZone to buy a new battery for the generator. Well, the credit card machine did not work. So I paid cash. I paid like $240 cash for another battery. I brought the battery home, put it in my generator, started the generator. It's got enough gas to run for 16 hours. And I ran it for 8 hours, turned it off. And, so I was able to make it. But since that year, I learned. Now I have a device that trickle charge all my batteries. I just plug it into the battery. I just remove it from my generator battery like 2 days ago to put it on my lawnmower battery. It will exercise the battery and trickle charge the battery. I'm even doing it with my expensive cars because some of those cars, their batteries can go down real quick. If you haven't driven it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it's going to go down. So, I'm putting this device on them to trickle charge them and just keep them active. So you got to start thinking about emergency stuff. I just noticed that I actually have, chargers now to where I can start a car without electricity because I have a charger that's fully charged and I'm always trickling charging it so that I could start it. If the car would not start, I could start it. You got to think about some of this stuff. What are you going to do? I have enough battery backups on my computers to where I can quickly turn my computer on to do certain things and turn it back off and turn my battery back off. My battery backup can run my computer for about 7 hours. But I'm not going to leave the computer on for 7 hours. I'm just going to run it for 5-10 minutes to do what I need to do and turn it off and turn my battery back off. Again, learn what to do to prepare in case of emergency. Well, my time is up tonight. If there's any question, let me see. Pastor preparation. Thank you very much, Sister Lowe. We appreciate it. Amen. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the love. And I see some of you are commenting. God bless you. Thank you. Amen. I actually noticed there's something on YouTube now, which I didn't ever notice it before. I'm just looking on my device right now, where you can actually like something. I see when I can press love. Oh, I see. Man, they got all kind of stuff. I don't know why you're not giving me any likes or any love. Oh, no, I'm mad at some of you now. You know, I'm not seeing nothing flying on my screen. All right, I see some of you now. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you very much. I just know, yeah, I think it's new. I've never seen this on YouTube. It is new. And also, if you notice there's a dollar sign down there, amen. If you want to support what we are doing, you can click that dollar sign and you can do a super chat or a super sticker. Amen. Thank you very much. And now I'm beginning to see some of the emojis. I'm seeing the likes, and okay, I'm actually trying it out myself too. Okay, that's cool. Now I can tell when people are there and they like what we are saying. All right, thank you very much. Yolanda, thank you. Genevieve, thank you. DJ Hopes, thank you. Everyone that's joining us, I thank you tonight for joining us. This is where I'm going to end tonight. My time is up. If you were not joining me live, maybe you seen this video after I'm off. Listen to the whole video. We're talking about the bank closures or the bank failures or the bank issues that we've been having in America and what they had in Nigeria and they're still having in Nigeria. What do you need to prepare? Watch the video and comment. And I'm looking at the comments. I will also reply to your comments. If you have any question, you can ask me the questions. And if you're not subscribing to my channel, go ahead and subscribe tonight. Amen. And you can also press the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever we come live to bring you, some of these contents that we bring every week. Well, until next Thursday, same time on this same channel, this is your friend, yours truly, Pastor Akin Bandele, wishing you a very, very, very good weekend. And I love you. Jesus loves you more. Good night, family.